didn't really play badly either.
No, not really.
Didn't have a bunch of turnovers. They,
No, the Warriors had 18 turnovers. But it's interesting. The Warriors had 18 turnovers. I'm sorry, 16 in the first half. Had 2 in the second.
There you go. That's the name of the game. And Draymond only had 1 bad turnover.
I'm so glad Steve Kerr's back. I think he should be in the organization at all. My only regret is they're going to win another championship on the road. I'd like to have them win it at home in front of the home folks, but I don't want them to lose tomorrow night. I want a sweep. I want a perfect season.
Yeah, that would be.
I want them to blow them out too, Mark. Just blow them out. Get it over with.
You're so evil, Mr. McCovey.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a close game though. You just don't know. You just don't know.
They may just get too demoralized.
And I think Cleveland is going to. Cleveland would like to get 1 win just to show their fans that hey, we're giving it our best job.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's be real.
Coming back last year from 3-1, that's different than 3-1.
Well, against this team, they didn't have Durant last year. They had Harrison Barnes. They didn't have, they didn't have JaVale McGee. They had Andrew Bogut who was hurt.
Yeah. And Pachulia still kind of drives me bananas with this.
Well, he said 2 illegal picks last time, which drove
very
crazy.
Yeah.
Very crazy. Yeah.
Very, yeah. Okay, so it's just mano a mano.
Yeah. Whatever you want to talk about.
Stuff.
Yeah. A bunch of stuff. Just
right
out there.
Because I got to report at 3:00 today.
Oh, well, you got your business show.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that doesn't really matter right now who's president. If it's Obama or if it's Trump, the stock market is just going to do its own thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of independent.
It is kind of independent, but it's all based on perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
The stock market. It's not based. You can't really. It's not like the weather or you got a good team. You're probably going to win. Stocks. It's like unless you get a blue chip or something that's real conservative, it's going to go the way it's going to go.
That's absolutely true.
And how do you get to be an expert at predicting? You know?
You can't. Okay, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality. Now, today we don't have a special guest, so it's just mano a mano.
That's right.
I was thinking about this too the last few weeks. We'd say that we try to talk a lot of business of sports, but sometimes you just got to talk about sports.
That's right.
Rather than the business.
Let's talk about baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
Who said that? Was that Mel Allen?
Mel Allen.
This week in baseball.
That's it. That's it. This week.
Look at Pete Rose. Pete Rose just got his 3,000th hit. Man, oh man. Or how about Red Rush? Or Red Barber. Red Barber. Oh, doctor. That was his favorite expression.
Doctor.
Well, it's like, oh, doctor, I'm having a heart attack. It's so exciting. Cookie Lavagetto just broke up the game with a double off the wall here at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. Oh, doctor.
Or Phil Rizzuto. Holy cow.
Holy cow. Holy cow. What a shot. Or how about John Sterling? Oh, Yankees win.
Oh, is that what he does?
He shakes his face. So he's like, you can hear his lips or his cheeks whacking his chest. Yankees win. Yeah.
I'd like to actually see that.
Tom Brennan the other night, when Scooter Gannett hit the 4 home runs, one of the home runs he went, bye, baby. And I thought, am I listening to Russ Hodges? But of course, Tom's too young to remember Russ Hodges, so he didn't steal it. He just, came.
I just remember Lon Simmons, you can tell it goodbye.
Tell it goodbye.
All right, so in fact, the trivia theme is going to be from Ball Diamond to the Booth.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, this will be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money. You got to check them out because they are still providing conservative mortgage investments that are still currently yielding over 7.5% and secured by California real estate, mostly in the San Francisco Bay Area. The default rate is minuscule, if anything, like 0. And so it doesn't get any more conservative than that. You got to check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. And even if you're outside of the California, you can still invest. And don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
I'm just writing a list of all the former baseball players that became prominent TV, sports, or radio baseball announcers. Baseball. Baseball been very, very good to me. There's the ball, and then the very, very good. Who was that guy who played for the Giants who became a great announcer in the 50s?
That wasn't Russ.
Who was a great player, became a very good manager, was Bill Terry.
Oh, yeah.
He not only won
the Yankees.
He won 3 rings for the Giants as a player.
Oh,
for 2 rings. I'm sorry, he won 2 rings for the Giants as a player. And he won 1 as a manager.
Bill Dickey played for the
Yankees. He was a
early.
catcher.
Yeah. Bill Terry was a catcher too, wasn't he?
Bill Terry was a first baseman.
Oh, I get these guys mixed up because they played around Bill.
Bill Terry played in the 20s. He was
so
kind of like right before Millot. Millot came along in the 30s, in the late 20s, early 30s.
Dickey played in the late 20s.
More Joe DiMaggio's time, 30s and 40s.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
he was one of my dad's heroes.
Your dad a big Yankees fan?
Oh God, growing up, he grew up, going to Yankee Stadium as a kid in the 20s, so he saw Babe Ruth play. Caught a foul ball from Babe Ruth.
Wow.
Yeah.
My Babe Ruth shook my mom's pinky.
Did she?
My mom shook his pinky.
Babe Ruth. There's a great story about Babe Ruth.
Tell it on the air.
Well, tell it on the air. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. It is it's a typical, sort of classic Babe Ruth story. So, all right. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Now, Bruce, you were just about to get into a story about Babe Ruth, and I said, stop. Tell it on the air.
Well, Babe Ruth, as you know, and maybe you don't know this, a lot of our listeners who are historically oriented may know that back in the 19-teens, 20s, and 30s, and I think even up into the 40s and sometimes 50s, teams in the off-season would do what are called barnstorming tours.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't necessarily teams, of one particular team from the National American League. They get a group of players, and they used to pay these guys a pretty fair sum of money, and they were mostly star players.
Well, let's say when they went to Japan.
They went to Japan. That was a big one that started after the war, but this is prior to World War II. And back in the 20s, players used to travel all over by rail, of course, in those days, because, commercial flying was very, was in the early stages. Anyway, there's a story about Babe Ruth loved the Bay Area. He had good friends that played for the Yankees that lived in the Bay Area, and so he used to visit them. And he came out here on one occasion in the 1920s at the height of his powers and took the ferry from San Francisco over to Marin, jumped on a train, and took it out to Point Reyes. And he got out to Point Reyes near Nicasio, a little town in western Marin. In those days, it was a farming community with a lot of dairy cows. And a fellow by the name of Lefty Gomez, who later became a great pitcher for the Yankees, was playing on this team, a summer league team, out in Nicasio. It was like a bunch of Marin teams. And he invited Babe to come out and join him. They were going to go out to dinner, and there was a nice speakeasy out there, and they were going to have a good time. And so Babe, in for a good time. He was out, I guess, bear hunting at the time out in Point Reyes. Back in those days, you could do such things. And he shows up in his coonskin jacket, takes it off, waves to the crowd, comes onto the field right in the middle of the game, interrupts the game, and asks Lefty Gomez if he can, bat for his team. He said, sure. Gets up there, hits a home run, runs around the bases, waves to the crowd, has a beer, and sits back and watches the game. And this kind of thing, this is sort of typical. Can you imagine, some player in modern days, doing that? Barry Bonds back in, 10 years ago doing that kind of thing.
Well, his contract probably said he couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, those days, things were a lot more informal. But, Babe Ruth did those kind of things. And then, of course, he goes out that night and has a few glasses of beer, probably more than a few glasses, and goes out and hunts bear the next day. This is the kind of people, this is what they did back in those days. So, yeah, a lot of good stories about Babe Ruth.
And then comes back to Yankee Stadium, hits a few more home
Hits
runs.
a few more home runs. It's interesting. His last game in the majors.
Yes, don't tell me. He hit 3 home runs at Forbes Field.
That's right. Very good. It actually wasn't
for
his
the
last.
Boston Braves.
It wasn't his last game. His last great game. His last season, and one of them went over the roof.
Yeah.
Which is a prodigious blast. And the sports writers who were covering at the time, one of them said he looked old. He was fat. He barely made it around the bases. But man, he had a beautiful swing.
Yeah.
You know who had, I think, the prettiest swing
Ted
back in the Ted Williams had a beautiful swing. Will Clark had a beautiful swing. Willie McCovey.
Yes.
When he would unleash that powerful left-handed swing, it was a thing of beauty.
I saw him hit a ball out of Candlestick Park. Actually, out of the entire ball.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it. Yeah.
I don't know how many feet that's got to be close to 500 feet.
You know what's great about Willie? Willie's about 78, and he's not in real good health. He's basically in a wheelchair. He's confined to a wheelchair because the doctors really screwed up his knee and hamstring when they did the surgery on him back in the 70s and 80s. They just they didn't have the good technology or whatever. They screwed up. So he's confined to a wheelchair, but his spirit is so good. And they've got a little box for him up in the press section. He sits between the home and the visiting television crews. And he has his own little box there, and you go into his little box. He's usually there with his helper or his guardian or whatever you want to call her. She's sort of handling his business, and he's got his little table set up in front of him with fork and the knife and the spoon and because he's ready for lunch, and they bring the lunch to him. And it's like a king, and you go visit him, and you pay your respects to Willie, and it's like visiting a deity. It's really sweet. I always like to do it, and if you catch him in a good mood, which he usually is, and he'll give you a great baseball story too.
I just always loved him as a player.
Well, that's the thing I love about certain teams. They invite their old players back. Willie Mays, you see him once in a while downstairs in the clubhouse. Orlando Cepeda shows up. Orlando's just a sweetheart. And a lot of teams don't do that. They don't honor their past. The Giants are one of those rare teams that does.
Yeah, how often does Willie Mays go to the ballpark?
Well, not as often as Willie McCovey. Willie McCovey's there almost every game. Willie Mays probably once a homestand, maybe twice a homestand. I've run into him once in a while. He's practically blind, but man, he grabs your hand. He's got this huge hand. He's not a big guy. He's only 5'11", but he's got these meaty mitts that are enormous. He grabs your hand and it's a vice grab. It's like, hey, how's it going, man? A little high voice, What's happening?
Now, does McCovey give? Does he? Well, I can't really go to the clubhouse too easily because
but he'll go down there once in a while. Yeah,
give advice to the.
He'll hang out down there. It's fun when he and Willie Mays sometimes hang out. Mike Murphy, the longtime clubhouse manager, who's still around, they hang out in his little office, and the players come by, and it's like they're visiting, some famous deity. I mean, they just walk in and pay their respects, and it's nice for the players, to be remembered. More importantly, though, it's great for teams to respect their history.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something in America that we do very often in a lot of walks of life, do we?
Yeah, I wonder how many ball players come up and they go, Willie who? I mean,
I don't think any of them.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody who doesn't know who Willie Mays is, who plays baseball.
Yeah.
Now maybe Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent always used to pretend to be historically ignorant. Like I mentioned some name from the past, pretty famous name. I don't know who that is, sir. I said, oh, come on, Jeff. I didn't watch baseball. I played it. Okay, whatever. Jeff Kent was just a sourpuss. He was.
What's he doing nowadays?
Probably just enjoying life on his ranch down in suburban San Antonio with his 3 girls, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea.
Texas boy.
He isn't, though. He's from Southern California. But he always had this air of, like, I'm from Texas, and he started speaking with a Texas accent. One time I kidded him. I said, Jeff, you don't have a Texas accent. You're not fooling us. He laughed. He says, well, I'll be living down there pretty soon, so pretty soon I'm going to have twang. So you just better accept it, Bruce.
Well, I guess you could go down there, too, and be accepted. You get
I got my redneck hat on here.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. You see me walking around Marin today, which is the bastion of liberalism, with this red hat with a block R in it. Everybody's looking at me like, what is he, a Republican?
They don't know that that's Redwood High School?
No, they don't.
Really?
People are ignorant. They don't understand.
What do they think it stands for? Redneck?
They think it stands for redneck.
Get out
But I'm a
here.
redneck Republican. So I get this real sour look on my face. Yeah, I'm 65. I'm a redneck Republican.
Wait,
you want a piece of me?
Who think? I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming. I got some dirty looks from people on the trail today when I was hiking. Yeah, a couple of gals.
Maybe they're from Tam High. They don't like Redwood High School.
Maybe that's it. There you go.
I think that's what it's
Redwood, Deadwood. Yeah, the girl. You know what Tam used to say about us? Redwood, Deadwood, rot.
I don't know anybody who would look at that red hat with a white R.
I think it's a cool hat, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would assume that stands for redneck.
Yeah, you never know. They're crazy people out there. That's a crazy world we live in.
Let's see. Before we go to break, Cavs Warriors.
Oh,
now,
man.
By this time on Saturday,
the Warriors will have swept.
Will have swept it.
And if they haven't, they will win the 5th game back home.
Is that good for
basketball?
NBA?
It's good for the Warriors. I don't think it's good for the NBA. The ratings have been good, but the games have been outside of the third game. I mean, how many good games have there been? The Warriors have had 3 competitive games actually 4. 1 in each series in the entire 15 games.
Well, again,
but they're so
I'm a
much
Warrior
better.
fan, so I've enjoyed it. But
sure.
Just watching the level of play, even if it's a blowout, I mean, the talent that some of these shots that are made are just.
Yeah, it is amazing.
I mean, and no disrespect to Michael Jordan because he was in that same class.
Sure.
But other than him, I don't know too many. Dr. J, there's a few guys, but gosh darn it, man, LeBron and Kyrie and Steph Curry and Durant. I mean. Those are 4 guys right on, and Klay Thompson right there on the same court.
That is amazing. You don't see it. It's kind of like Bird. It's kind of like Bird in the Celtics against Magic and the Lakers back in the day.
Which saved the NBA.
It really did. Well, yes.
Kind of going nowhere.
It really did. Yes. Good point.
All right, so we're going to go to our first trivia question, and we're talking about from ball diamond to the booth.
Okay, announcers.
I don't know how many of these you'll know. You're a smart guy. You'll probably get them all. Anthony Perkins played this player in the movie Fear Strikes Out.
Oh, yeah, this is an easy one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you know this. His career with the Red Sox, Indians, Senators, Mets, and Angels was colorful and included a backwards trip around the bases to celebrate his 100th home run.
And the guy this is based on just passed away last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He had a short stint as Texas Rangers broadcaster, but later teamed with Harry Carey to add commentary to Chicago White Sox games.
And he did the Oakland A's too for 1 year.
Yeah, I thought I remember that because I know that name. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back.
I'm not sure which year it was. I think it might have been that ill-fated 1979 year.
Yeah, I was going to say
79, they had Red Rush, and I can't remember the guy who was doing it with Red. He did it only 1 year in 79. The guy was absolutely terrible. Just awful.
Don't they interview these guys?
Well, Charlie didn't care. You know, he had not even heard John Miller. John Miller said, you know, I thought Charlie knew all about me. Charlie never even heard a tape. He just wanted to hire a young guy. And he says he got paid $20,000. But, you know, $20,000 for a guy just out of college.
That's pretty good. Back what year?
74.
That's really good.
20,000, yeah. I mean, my job, my first job in radio was 1974. I only got paid $6,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
20,000.
$6,000. I remember that. When I worked in Eureka, I got paid $12,000. When I was in Portland, it was 19. When I was in Seattle, it was 27. When I was in New York, it was 40. So incrementally, it would go up. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Back in them there dies.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101 one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our first trivia question, which all I had to do was say Anthony Perkins played this player in the movie Fear Strikes Out, and you already knew the answer.
Yeah, Jimmy Pearsall.
That is correct.
Many former players became prominent announcers. George Kell, Detroit Tigers, Herb Score, Cleveland Indians, Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Rucco, of course, with the Giants, Don Drysdale, the Dodgers, Buck Martinez, Tim McCarver, Ray Fossey. We could go down the list. There's a lot of them.
Was Joe Garagiola.
Joe Garagiola. He wasn't much of a player, though, but a great storyteller.
Yeah.
God, I remember interviewing him once, and the stories he would tell. My God. I said, how do you remember all this stuff? He goes, I lived it.
Well, he was, I guess, he and Stan Musial were pretty close.
They were very good friends. He actually grew up in the same neighborhood, though, as Yogi Berra.
That's right.
In St. Louis. And he got to play the only World Series title he won. He only played about 5 years.
Right?
No, 1954 with the Giants.
54.
Yeah, he was a bench player with the Giants. So he has some great stories about, well, he did. He just passed away recently, but he has some great stories to tell about Willie Mays. What is that you just grabbed there?
A cough drop.
Oh, you got a sore throat?
Yeah, it's a little one.
Yeah, not fun.
It's going to be tough because I got to do back-to-back.
There you go.
This one,
we'll talk some more baseball.
Well, more baseball. All right, so talking again, we're kind of going back a little bit to the Cavs Warriors. This is good for the NBA. I mean, what would the NBA do? I mean, they already have cap limits and all that other kind of stuff. Is it good for the NBA to have
this one super team? I think so, because even though the Warriors may dominate for a couple of years, they probably will, I think it rivets a lot of attention on them. And, let's face it, Michael Jordan and the Bulls dominated the NBA for 6 out of 8 years. The 2 years they didn't dominate, Jordan wasn't there. LeBron has dominated with his, 7 finals he's been in? He's won 3 rings. That's pretty amazing. Cleveland, San Antonio did it for off and on for a long time. The Lakers, you mentioned Magic Johnson, the Celtics back in the 60s with Bill Russell. It's interesting, the only era that really there wasn't a dominant team was the 1970s. You had a lot of different teams. So I think it's good. I think in some respects it's not good for the fans who are hardcore that really want to see competitive games. But if you want to have one team that everybody identifies with, and let's face it, the Warriors have become an international sensation. You go to these Warrior games now, and you meet media from France and from Germany and from Japan and the Philippines. It's really kind of fun to go to a game just for that alone. You all these different accents. I sat next to a guy the other day at Game 2 in Oakland who was from Lisbon. And he's writing for some paper in Lisbon. I said, is basketball that popular? Oh, yeah, we have a pro league there, and they follow the players. Portugal, yeah. Well,
Spain, I mean,
Spain, very big. In Italy, it's very big. And Germany, certainly,
all
France.
the Slavic countries.
Yeah, England to a lesser degree, but yeah, and it's big in China. China's huge in China. You know, I mean, Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Parts of Africa. So it's truly outside of soccer. It really is the international sport of choice, I think, as a team sport.
It was one of the. I remember when the first Dream Team came. All the players who were playing against them, they would always like line up for autographs and stuff. So that's pretty. Yeah. You don't get that in any other Olympic sport.
You look at the Warriors; they're almost like a dream team. I mean, you know, they don't have the 4 best players in the game, but is there any team that has 4 better or 5 better players than what they have on their team? Starting player. I mean, I'm talking about Iguodala and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant is. I think this series has sort of cemented his role as a guy who just has this vision. This is why I came to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Was to win a championship, and he almost single-handedly has taken over at the key points of the. They have no answer. The Cavs can't figure out what to do against this guy.
Then you got Pachulia and David West kind of riding on the coattails saying, listen, I just want to win. I'll take a pay cut just to be on a winning team.
Well, and here's the good news for the Warrior fans. They're going to pay Curry and Durant a lot more money, but they're also getting a little hometown discount so they can keep some of these guys next year. So they'll hopefully keep Ian Clark, and they'll keep Sean Livingston, and they'll keep a guy like a David West, who are role players but are important. I mean, Sean Livingston has been a huge. People don't talk about that guy, but he's been around a long time and is a contributing factor. Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch, and they're a good group of guys. It's not just a great group of athletes. They really are decent people. I mean, Steph Curry's the kind of guy that if you had a daughter and he wasn't married, he's a good guy. You can go out with him. Yeah. You know, I mean, Kevin Durant is just like the boy next door. You know, Draymond is a little bit edgy, but he's playful. He's fun. He's not a mean-spirited guy. If you want to get into a lively conversation, there's a guy to talk with. And then Klay is kind of almost ethereal. He stands back and sort of he considers things very, very carefully. I think the 2 most intelligent players on that team, though, are Andre Iguodala and David West. Those guys are, if you want to talk about anything with those guys, they'll talk to you about it. And some players are not multifaceted. These guys are.
Because they're in their 30s now.
Yeah, they've lived a little, like the rest of us. We're so wise in our old age.
All right, so it's still talking NBA.
Yeah.
So what about the idea that, they talk about this one and done.
Right.
Which, why don't you explain that to the audience?
You're talking about one and done in a postseason tournament?
No, I think it's more of instead of going right from high school.
Oh, I see what you're saying. One year in college. And then, I think, isn't the rule right now that you can go right from high school into the pros? I believe
that's what it was. They may have changed.
I mean, LeBron went right from high school. So did Kevin Garnett. So did Kobe, Malone. So I don't know. That's a good question. Is it? Do you have to play 1 year of college? I don't see any reason why you should have to go to college for just 1 year. It makes no sense if you're going to leave after. You can always go back to college and get your degree later. If I was a young player at 18 and I was a man-child like LeBron, and I had a chance to make millions, of course I'd play in the NBA.
Yeah, because especially if you retire in your 30s, you can still go back to college.
You go back to college, you had a family.
It's funny. Okay, so I've got a bachelor's and I've got a master's, but you know what? College ain't everything.
No, well, it's great to have an education, a higher education, but I hate to say it. Let's face it. When you go out, and I'm going to be this. I hope this is going to be taken the wrong way. When you go out to an employer, is he going to really want to look through your transcripts? I don't think so. He might he went to the University of Chicago or whatever. But I mean, what he wants to see is somebody who's forthright and composed and articulate and mature and is going to be an asset to the organization.
I put on my resume, I graduated 85th out of a class of 100, and I still got the job.
Yeah, I don't know what number I was. I never figured that one out. I didn't realize I'm sure they do keep track of that because it's a valedictorian, isn't there?
There is, but they talk about like magna cum laude and summa cum laude, right?
Magna is the big one, right?
No, that's what I thought. Summa is, yeah. And then when the dean handed my diploma, he just went laude. I didn't get any.
I lived right across the street from 2 Swedish doctors who had 2 sons who were a couple of years apart. One was a year older, one was a year younger than me, and they became 2 of my best friends when I was growing up in high school. And both of them were valedictorians the year ahead of me and the year behind me.
Wow.
They were, and they both went to Harvard, and they both got their doctorates from schools in the Midwest, and they're both scientists.
Okay, but some of these people, they get their bachelor's, they get their master's,
right.
and then their biggest line is still, "Would you like fries with that?"
Yeah.
But because just the way things are in life, there's just too many people with a psychology degree or.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I don't want to get off on a tangent about this, but I wonder if people, who get a general liberal arts education. I mean, that's a great thing to know a lot about American history and literature and things like that. But unless you're going to teach it, trying to use it for practical purposes, I don't know.
No, and it's funny, when I was in college, I remember hearing about, you got to take all these classes to be a well-rounded individual.
Right.
And I did not appreciate it at the time. I really wanted to just study business
and
all that.
Sure.
As I got older, I do appreciate it, but it still would not have given me the job, just like you said. So going back to the NBA, if these guys are talented enough and some team wants them, I say they should be able to do it. Just like anybody who doesn't, let's say, play for the NBA, but comes out of college and works in concrete or construction or something.
Why can't you get into the pros in basketball?
Yeah.
No, it does make sense. No, I don't know of any rule. Again, maybe I'm totally naive. I don't know of any rule that says you have to go to college. I know in football, I believe you have to have, I think it's 2 years of college play.
Okay,
I believe.
But again, same thing. Now, not too many 18-year-olds are going to have the physicality to play pro.
Yeah, that's true.
Basketball's a little different. But if there was some team that wanted, tell me what's wrong with that. Because again, you start playing college and you get hurt.
Yeah, and then there goes your paycheck. Yeah. Well, again, I mean, it's interesting you bring that point up though about the education thing. I was thinking to myself, God, if I didn't take all those classes in public speaking and in writing and in TV production, even though that's not my specialty area, those things have helped me in my career. So those ancillary, areas that you study and actually really help you out. So that's why I urge any kid out there listening, oh, gee, I don't feel like taking English literature. And it's forced upon me. Well, learn something, and it'll help you down the road.
Well, you took all those classes, and that's why you talk gooder than I do.
Well, actually, it helped me get a date with my first wife because I was able to quote Chaucer, and she was very impressed.
Chaucer.
Just being silly,
Chaucer. I got Chaucer. That goes back to the 1300s.
Yeah. The Canterbury Tales. Old English, yeah.
Boy, have you ever tried to look at Beowulf?
Oh man! I read the book. I remember reading that book when I was in college.
In original
Celtic? No. But I mean, I'm reading it. I'm going, God, this thing is. There were some interesting books I had to read. Steppenwolf was another one by Herman Hesse. That was a bizarre book.
Steppenwolf. I thought that was the group.
Yeah, it was the group based on the.
Was it really?
Yeah, based on the book.
I thought it was just Steppenwolf. That's kind of a cool name.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that song.
Yeah.
Me too. In fact, it's funny because I met the. I'll tell you the story because it's not that interesting for radio.
Okay, for radio purposes.
Okay, so here we are, second trivia question. Paul Diamond to the booth. He has long been a voice of the St. Louis Cardinals on KMOX AM radio. He played outfield for only one team, St. Louis. His entire playing career lasted from 1962 until 1970, and he made several World Series appearances, earning a ring in 1967. His broadcasting career began in 1972. Who is he? Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
Mike Shannon.
Very good. Boy.
Well, Mike Shannon, I know he's funny. You listen to him, he sounds like some corn pone farmer,
Another guy.
Hey, there's a big hill. Hey, you got a hold of that one. Look at that one. Hey, baby, that's gone. Home run. Yeah, you know who I hate to say it. I cannot stand. I won't say this on the air, but I cannot stand Vince Cotroneo because he does a good job. Technically, but the other day, he's the Giant. He's the A's second banana on the radio booth. The other day, Chapman hit a grand slam. Deep drive to right field. It's gone, and it's in the Yankee Stadium. The crowd's going crazy. It's gone. Grand slam.
I don't understand that. I think I heard. It's the first time I ever heard that. And I'm thinking same thing. Well, who is this?
Oh, you heard that too.
Just, not that specific grand slam, but just in general. I go, God, it's on the radio.
The other thing I love about Bill King, it was a horrible moment for the A's when Kirk Gibson hit that homer. Yeah. But it was a riveting moment for baseball, and he recognized it.
Yeah.
His call of that is so much better than Scully's and so much better than Jack
Scully. And here she goes.
There she goes. And he just lets the crowd. Scully just, was good with radio, but television, he would never say anything. He just, the pictures will tell the story. I don't need to say anything.
I mean, it's good to
I don't want to get in the way of the beautiful green, the lush green, and there's the cerulean blue skies over Dodger Stadium. You know,
I mean, it's one thing to be quiet to let the audience hear the chairs.
This is a very religious man, by the way. Very religious. Yeah.
So, I'm at McGinnis Park,
right.
And there's some band playing at St. Patrick's Day.
This is the place where the Pacifics play, right?
No, McGinnis, not Albert Park. McGinnis.
Oh, McGinnis.
McGinnis, the golf.
Oh, the golf. Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
So, I happened to I just was teasing the bass player a little bit, and I said, yeah, I'd like to sing with you guys or something. He goes, really? You want to sing? And I go, yeah, but you got to play something from Steppenwolf, like Born to Be Wild. And the guy goes, well, you know what? The guitar player for Steppenwolf is right over there. I said, get out of here.
He was in the band?
No, he was in the audience.
Oh my God!
My girlfriend or something. What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds of that happening?
Okay.
Here's a good trivia question.
Yes.
Famous people you've met in the bathroom. Like you're sitting in the urinal, you look over and there's a famous person. That happened to me at an NBA championship game last year. I'm taking a leak.
Don't use the word leak, okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Bruce McGowan, and Bruce is 2 for 2 because he knew the answer to this one. Trivia question number 2. He has long been a voice of the St. Louis Cardinals on KMOX AM radio. He played outfield for only one team, St. Louis. His entire playing career lasted from 1962 until 1970, and he made several World Series appearances, earning, let's see, so that would have been 64, 67.
That's right, two rings.
Okay.
Actually played third base. He sometimes did play the outfield, but mostly third base, because they had Brock, Flood, and Roger Maris.
Wait a minute, though. Oh, okay, because in 64 they lost to the Yankees.
They did.
That's why he only earned 1 ring.
That's right.
His broadcasting career...
No, they beat the Yankees in 64.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. It's like they played from 62 to 70.
He won 2, he got 2 rings.
It says earning a ring in 1967.
Oh, you know something? He missed the 60... Was it the 64? I believe he had some kind of weird illness that sidelined him for a whole summer.
Yeah, because I was thinking, well, wait a minute, 64. I thought...
Shall I tell you who it is? It's Mike Shannon. Yeah. The Cardinals, here's a pitch. Hey, there it goes. Oh, baby. Home run. The Cardinals win. Yeah. He's funny.
That's right, because in 67, they beat the Red Sox. In 68, they lost to the Tigers.
You know, it's funny with a voice like that, too. You'd think he would be a redneck right-winger. He's like a flaming liberal, which is so weird. You meet that guy, and it's like, he's a flaming liberal. I can't figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah, but then Vince Scully is like Mr. Right Wing, so figure that one out too.
They got to get together.
They got to get together and talk politics. Let's do some politicking.
Okay, so you were gonna
famous people
you meet in the bathroom.
Yeah, famous people you meet in the bathroom. I had one of those encounters a couple years ago. I guess it was last year. No, it was 2 years ago. 2015, Warriors' first trip to the finals in 40 years. And I'm in the bathroom at the urinal, and I look over, and there's this middle-aged African-American guy, and then that guy looks kind of familiar. It's Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, how's it going? That was the extent of our conversation. I didn't want to bother him. Oh, Samuel, hey.
Especially when he's
I didn't want to sit there and explain, hey, we're having a good time here, aren't we? Yes. Watching the game. Let's get another beer.
You know lots of famous people because you've been in sports for so long.
Well, what's interesting? You meet people in the entertainment business when you go to sports events because a lot of them play the national anthem or they're just fans. And Huey Lewis, I've gotten to know him pretty well. Aaron Neville used to come to a lot of Oakland area games. The Neville brothers. Great soul singer. Got to know him pretty well, off and on. Carlos Santana, met a couple times there. Nice guy. And the guy that I did not like he was just a jerk. And I've heard nothing but bad things about him personally. Great artist. Don't take away anything from his artistic looks. But as a person, he just had no personality. Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. Did an interview with him once. I asked him 4 questions. I got 10-word answers, and I just turned off the mic. I said, "See you later." I just walked away. I was just so disappointed.
He gave you the old Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch had a press conference the other day, and he was funny. He talked about, I'm from Oakland. I used to run down these alleys and get into trouble, and I was, I'm a homebred boy,
And then he's going to Vegas.
He won't go to Vegas because he'll be retired by then, probably. You know,
Really?
he'll probably play for 2 or 3 years. He's 30 years old. He's been,
Wait, when are they going to Vegas?
2020.
Okay, so they got 18, 19...
17, 18, 19, 3 years.
Yeah.
That'll be weird having the Raiders in Oakland for 3 years, knowing they're. But you know, Raider fans are cult fans. They get a lot of their fans from Southern California. They'll still sell the place out. This year, they may have the best team they've ever had.
Huh?
And they'll.
Wait, ever like?
Well, I mean, the best team I should say the best team they've had in a long time. 15 years, you know. Let's put it that way.
So there are people in Southern California who are more Raider fans than Ram fans.
Oh well, yeah. When the Rams left, a lot of people said, "Who cares?" Because they moved twice. They moved to Orange County, and that pissed off LA fans. That's like the 49ers moving to the South Bay, but even worse. And then they moved to St. Louis, and they were gone for 15 years. So people just, or 20 years? People just said, "Ah, the heck with it."
Well, how long were the Raiders in
LA? 13 years.
See,
but they had enough. They had a cult following.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to describe it.
And is it just because they have an emblem of?
I think it's just the people like the Raiders' image. They like this, you know, the bad guys. And there were a lot of people that embraced that.
Oh, come on, Gentle Ben Davidson.
Nice man. Don't want to mess with him on the field. Yeah,
is he still around?
No, he died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
He was about 6'8", and I remember going up to him once after a game to get an interview with him. And it was actually, he was not playing by this time. He was just hanging out in the locker room. Big, hulky guy. How you doing, little fella?
Little fella? Yeah, and you're 6'5".
How you doing, little fella? You want an interview? Yeah, sure. Talk to you. What do you want to know?
That sounds like his voice.
Yeah, he had that. He did some television.
And Ted Hendricks, how big a tall is he?
The same size as Ben, 6'8", but not a. He's just got a big wingspan. He had these long arms. He wasn't. He only weighed about 230, but he just had these long arms. He could just pull guys down from behind with that long arm, reach over. I remember once doing an interview with him. Right in the middle of the interview, he ran off. I mean, he literally was like, "I gotta get back to practice. See you later." He takes off.
Wait a minute, you had him during practice?
Yeah, it was during a break in practice. He was available. Then the coach had called him back on the field, and "Hey, what are you doing an interview? I gotta go back. I'll see you later." I had to turn off the mic. You know, that's all right.
That's all right. Don't take it personally.
No, I never did.
You got over it?
I run into him once in a while, and he's such a character. The guy that I really enjoyed dealing with was John Madden. John Madden was such a character. I remember asking him the stupidest question I ever asked a coach after a game. He handled it so well. He answered it.
You remember what you asked him?
Yeah, I said, they got killed by the Broncos. It was their first loss in something like 20 games. The Broncos beat them 30-7. I said, "John, was your team just not mentally ready to play today?" And that's not something you want to ask the coach, because if he says yes, that means he didn't do a good job. He says, "No, it had nothing to do with mental aspects of the game. It's just the fact that we turned the ball over 7 times and they didn't turn the ball over once."
There you go. That's a
pretty
great
much
answer.
pretty much darn near that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Love John Madden. And he's doing better, by the way. He is doing better, yeah. But he's not coming back on the air.
No, I mean, how old is he? 80?
80. He just turned 80. Yeah. He's had a major heart problems. Yeah, I heard him on the phone the other day. He was doing an interview.
Well, if you see him on the field and all the old clips, you can
Oh,
tell
yeah.
why he's got a heart problem.
God, he was insane. He was crazy. He had an ulcer. That's why he had to quit. He was only, what was he? He was 33 when he started coaching, 43 when he quit coaching, and an ulcer. Yeah. Well, the team, they didn't make the playoffs, and Al Davis was really coming down hard on Kenny Stabler. And he was always right in the middle of all the, intrigue between Stabler and Davis, because Stabler said, "I'd like to bury Al Davis said, "I want to bury the hatchet with Stabler," because he made some comments after they lost this game in '77 that were very, very uncomplimentary. And so Stabler was asked about it. He goes, "Yeah, I'd like to bury the hatchet right in his shoulders, between his shoulder blades." That's that.
And then he got traded to the Saints.
Yeah, well, actually, it was the Houston Oilers, and then he went to the Saints.
Yeah.
Houston Oilers. Remember?
Oh yeah.
We got the offense. We got the defense. I mean, it's like, who wrote this song? A third grader?
Number 1, right?
Yeah. Well, they had their little pom Houston Oilers.
Bum Phillips with the big hat.
I like Bum Phillips. I never forget asking him that one time that Houston beat the Raiders in the final play of the game. It was in Oakland. It was a late season game. Didn't mean anything, but it was big for the Oilers. And I asked Bum about the last play, and he goes, "Yeah, Mac Alston, their big tight end, he just pulled that catch right out of the air like he was picking a grape." Good old Bum.
Yeah, he did come from Texas, didn't he?
He did. He had that big 10-gallon hat. He was a piece of work. And, of course, his son turned out to be a very good defensive player. Wade Phillips, yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So, what else we want to talk about here, my friend?
Well, I just can't believe that the summer is fast approaching, and we haven't talked a lot of baseball. But, I guess
season's almost half over.
It's almost half over. There have been some surprises. Colorado, I would say, yeah, Houston's been a huge. Houston was, last I saw, 22-6 on the road. And Colorado had a record, I think, of about 39-23. Colorado's got some good pitching, good hitting.
My sister just moved to Colorado.
She moved to Denver?
She moved to Boulder, but
go down and see the Rockies.
She said something ridiculous, like she's seen 5 Rocky games already.
Really?
And I don't think she saw 3 Giants games in
her
20
life?
years.
Well, the interesting thing about the Rockies, they always usually, historically, have played better at home because it's a hitter's park, so they build their team around hitters. But now their road record is actually better than their home record, which is kind of a shock. Why they came into San Francisco earlier this year, did they? And it beat the Giants. Their center fielder, Charlie Blackman's a piece of work. He's got this big woolly beard, and he's got the, what do they call that funny haircut that a lot of guys...
Mohawk?
Not a mohawk, it's like...
Mullet?
Mullet, yeah. Oh, he calls it his mollet. So that's my mollet. Yeah, he's just a real...
Because it's French.
Yeah, it's French. Well, he's a real character. He's maybe the best leadoff hitter in the game right now.
What's he hit?
Somewhere in the 330s. The guy who's really, he hasn't cooled off very much at all is Ryan Zimmerman. That guy has just been a hitting machine.
He's always consistent.
Well, I hope Washington goes to the World Series. I'd like to see Dusty get to the World Series. He's only been there once and win it all.
Well, you've got a Bryce Harper looking hat. They're red and white.
Yeah. Bryce Harper. That's a clown question, dude. I love that line. That's a clown question.
Did he give it to you?
Oh, no, he said, clown question, bro.
Did he give it to you? Or
No, somebody else. Clown question. That's a clown question, bro.
Well, at least they call him bro.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Back in the old days, when I would ask a question and an athlete would get upset and say something stupid, I was discreet enough that unless it was just really incendiary, which was very, very rare, I would never send it to the networks. But people today, if they get something, it gets onto the... They don't only send it to the networks, it gets on the internet, it's spread all over. So these athletes are so hesitant to open up today. It's really unfortunate. In the old days, remember Tommy Lasorda would get, sit in his office. He had no, he was just sitting there with his underpants on and a T-shirt, and he'd be scratching his private parts and having filling his face with, pasta after a game. And he'd be answering questions like that. Well, you're pitch well. What's going on? And then he'd start throwing out his little, expletive deleted. Frank Robinson once, though, I think I told you this story. Frank Robinson was a guy from the tough streets of Oakland, great player, and he wouldn't take any guff from anybody. And the KGO radio here in San Francisco had a broadcaster by the name of Monty Stickles, who was probably the dirtiest player in the NFL. And Monty was a smart guy, but he didn't know baseball, and he didn't like covering baseball. And he showed up to a game once with a bit of a heater on, comes down into the clubhouse afterwards, and Frank had made the unfortunate decision of pulling this pitcher out of the game and putting another pitcher in when he shouldn't have done it. And so Monty asked him about that strategy, and Frank, I already answered that question, and you come back again. Pardon me, Frank. Pardon my, and the next thing you know, the F-bombs are flying. And I'm sitting there like 5 feet away from Frank, and Monty's over on my left shoulder, and Monty's a big dude. And I'm thinking, these two guys are going to go at it. And I'm going to be in the middle of this. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, how many networks am I feeding? 6? I can make a killing. So I did. I fed it to about 8 networks.
Do you have just the radio part or the camera?
No, I didn't have the camera. There was no TV cameras, but I had the radio part. I was the only one that had it broadcast.
Oh, that's great.
And it got big play.
You're such an opportunist.
Frank was really pissed at me. How dare you play that? That was a private conversation. I said, it wasn't a private conversation.
Yeah, it was in front of you.
It was in public, it was for public consumption. You shouldn't have said those things, Frank. And Monty was real pissed at me because it made him look bad.
So you have 2 really big guys. Well, Frank's
two
not
big guys
who's upset with you. That's not a good place to be.
Yeah, they both like me anyway. So that was just a little.
Who doesn't like you?
Yeah. My wife, even likes me.
Really?
My daughter, and my dog.
Your dog likes you?
My dog likes me.
That's amazing.
Although once in a while, when I raise my voice, he shivers and shakes.
Aww.
Yeah, I have that tendency. I'll say something. Gus. It's like. Yeah.
Daddy's not going to take me for a walk.
Yeah, that's right. I got to take him for a walk later today. As a matter of fact, when we finish this show, I'll take him for a walk.
All right, Gus, just hold on there. We're
Poop time.
Poop time.
Yeah, poop time.
All right, here's our last trivia question. Let's see if you know this one.
Okay.
This second baseman began his playing career with the California Angels.
Bobby Cannot.
No, in 1975.
75. Okay, Bobby Cannot was much earlier.
Okay, so I have to keep going?
Keep going.
Okay. But was traded to the Red Sox after the 1977 season ended. You know it yet?
Vaguely familiar.
He played his last game in Boston in 1984. He joined the New England Sports Networks.
Oh, I know who this is. Yeah, he got in some trouble recently. He had to apologize. Yeah, he said something on the air that was very incendiary, and he had to apologize.
Well, when we come back, you're going to tell us.
Yeah.
Don't touch that down. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
All right.
Who is it?
Jerry Remy.
Very good. See?
You didn't hear about him getting in trouble?
On
the air, he said, I guess this Japanese pitcher has to have an interpreter because he doesn't speak any English. He goes, they should get rid of interpreters. They shouldn't allow them on the field. These guys should learn
English.
No, he goes, people can communicate in baseball language. They don't need an interpreter. And then he had rescinded it later.
That's not the worst thing.
No, but it made the pitcher sound like he's foolish or whatever. I mean, face it, if you're Japanese, English is not a difficult language to learn. If you're Chinese, it is a difficult one. But Japanese and English, believe it or not, are very similar.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of
the pictures and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they say that learning Japanese is about as tough as learning German, which is a difficult language to learn, but German actually has more words that are similar to English than any other language, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and Chinese is that much harder than Japanese?
Well, yes, it is. Yeah. It's, I can't.
It's all Greek to me.
Yeah. No pun intended. Greek is a tough language to learn. Portuguese is a tough language to learn. Spanish, very easy. French, not so tough. German,
a little hard,
but and apparently Farsi is not that difficult to learn. What's hard about the hard part of Farsi is learning the alphabet because it's very detailed. So I think there's aren't there 3 languages basically in the Middle East? There's Farsi. There's what do they speak? They speak in Iraq and Iran. They speak Farsi, right?
Farsi.
Yeah, but they speak. There's some other language they speak there. Well, Egyptian in Egypt they speak Egyptian.
Arabic.
Arabic. There we go. Yeah, they speak Arabic. All right.
All right, ready?
Let's wrap up this bad boy.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. So, Bruce, you do this one question.
Yeah.
For 3, you rascal. The second baseman began his playing career with the California Angels in 1975, but was traded to the Red Sox after the 1977 season. He played his last game for Boston in 1984, and he joined in 1988 the New England Sports Network. He owns a hot dog stand on Yawkey Way outside Fenway Park and a pair of sports bars in the Boston area.
Very likable guy, by the way.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
He has even written a series of children's books.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Jerry Remy.
Jerry Remy.
And Jerry Remy got in trouble recently because I guess a pitcher for the Yankees is Japanese and doesn't speak English that well, and he had his interpreter come out during a session with the catcher to explain, in Japanese what was going on, and Jerry Remy's doing the telecast. They're playing the Red Sox, and Jerry said, they shouldn't allow, interpreters out in the field. Baseball is a universal language. They should learn how to, and he later kind of apologized. It was kind of a stupid remark, but it got him in a little trouble. So that's kind of a surprise because he strikes me as a pretty sharp guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too racist.
It's not racist. It's more of a just kind of, why even say something like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
That's strange.
Yeah, very strange.
All right, so here's our thoughts.
Thoughts for the day.
If you aren't going all the way, why go at all?
I used to say that when I dated. No, I'm just
Joe Davis said that.
Joe Davis? There you go.
Same thing.
Yeah, good old Joe.
And Mario Andretti, remember? Good
guy.
Good race car driver.
Very good.
He said, if you have everything under control, you're not moving fast enough.
That's right.
Especially for a race car driver.
Very true.
Definitely see why.
You got to be a little on the edge there if you're a race car driver. Just a little.
Now, next week, who's going to be our guest?
David Cavill. David Cavill.
Cavill.
Yeah. That's right. I keep mispronouncing. He's the president of the Oakland A's. You have to call him Cavill because if you call him Cavill, I think for some reason the family doesn't like the French pronunciation. Maybe they're anti-francophiles or something. And don't call me Cavill. It's Cavill.
Cavill.
Maybe it's the Americanized version.
It's K-A-V-A-L.
Maybe when his grandparents came over here, they wanted to be called Cavill.
Maybe, like the cavalry.
Cavalry.
Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right, that's a wrap. Saw Vernon at the game. Vernon was so happy. He loves covering the Warriors. And his wife, though, she keeps him busy.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, I've got my fingers crossed on Mueller. Every day that lying SOB in the White House is one day too long. Impeaching him and putting him in prison.
Who's this?
This is a friend of mine, Steve Bitker, the sports announcer on. He hates Donald Trump. He's just like, it's so funny. He gets every day. He's like sending me these little riffs. Okay, every day that lying SOB is in the White House is one day too long. Impeaching him or removing him from office via the 25th Amendment isn't enough for me. I want him and Bannon and all his cronies who were involved in Russia behind bars for a long time now. Steve is such. He gets a bug up his butt. Do not argue with him. Oh my God. He makes me look like the voice.